Welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar, Brand Muscle, the Defenders of Compliance. My name is Chloe Olson, Director of Product Marketing at BrandMuscle, and I'm thrilled to be presenting alongside Emily Jones, VP of Creative Services. Thank you for joining us today. Our mission today is to shed light on the critical importance of compliance in the beverage alcohol industry, how it impacts you, and how BrandMuscle partners with you to offer support. What we're going to cover today is high level, as compliance is a very complex topic. So let's just focus on the basics. To set the stage, I want to clarify what we mean when we talk about compliance management. Compliance rules outline what text and images are permitted on beverage alcohol materials, as well as what print products can be ordered and how it can be used in each state. At the end of the webinar, we will have time for Q&A. Please feel free to enter any questions so we can review later. Managing compliance is essential to multiple parties, but in particular, we're going to speak to suppliers and distributors and how BrandMuscle helps both parties align. For the suppliers attending today, as the owners of the brand, BrandMuscle advocates for you to ensure your brands are being represented appropriately. For the distributors, as stewards of the brand, we use our knowledge and expertise to guide you in making compliant approved marketing materials. I hope you see a common theme here. We care about your reputation and we are your partner. To be clear, the compliance rules that we will review today are not BrandMuscle rules. We help protect the best interests of our users to prevent any legal issues, ensure full marketing reimbursement, and continue to educate on compliance-approved alternatives. In a little bit, Emily's going to go into detail about the dedicated team at BrandMuscle supporting this service. In 2022, after reviewing 178,000 orders, our team found that 35% of those orders had at least one compliance violation. Navigating the complex landscape of regulatory compliance can be daunting, but having a violation within an order may have critical consequences. So it's important to have a team supporting you. Our support is offered by aligning complex compliance rules from suppliers to distributors and then to accounts, ensuring all parties achieve full marketing reimbursement, help avoid any legal ramifications, and efficiently process your orders to avoid any delays. Our review is of every order submitted to our team. This includes templates, custom, and even provided artwork. Sometimes we will receive artwork that was created by the account or the sales consultant, like the artwork I'm showing here. Within this provided artwork, our team found 9 compliance violations, including brand compliance, DISCUS, and trademark issues. Since we didn't create the design, the sales consultant had to make the necessary updates for it to be compliant approved before proceeding to production. There's a lot of risk involved when not checking alcohol advertising for compliance. That's why our team is dedicated to helping our partners navigate the compliance management. And next, Emily is going to dive deeper into what our team does and the main compliance components we monitor.
Thanks, Chloe. That is a lot of orders to review. That's all throughout the year, so we manage a high volume of work. Currently, we have 150 creative services team members that process those orders and verify that they're compliant. Each of them are thoroughly trained and certified on compliance management. We also conduct monthly compliance trainings and development sessions to ensure that our team stays up to date on the most current information. We've developed a very extensive internal documentation library for our team to reference. And as you can see on this screen recording, there is a lot of content, and this is just a small sampling of all of the rules and since compliance is so complex, we have a dedicated team that manages all of these compliance resources. They support any compliance related questions, and they ensure that we have consistent messaging and training. If a team member can't find what they need within the documentation, Then they reach out to the dedicated team for clarification. When we do notice a violation, our team reaches out to inform them, and we will always recommend an alternative. A lot of what we do for compliance management comes down to education. We find that many of our clients aren't aware of that these rules exist, or they may know some of the rules but not specifics, which isn't surprising because, again, it's a ton of information. But that's where we come in. We help you through the process. We defend your brand compliance, your reputation, your ability marketing reimbursement. And as I touch on the different compliance topics we're going to discuss today, I want you to keep in mind we're your partner, your advocate, and we're looking out for you. So we monitor for 6 different components of compliance. The first being state compliance. And I'm sure a lot of you on the call are aware of state ABC guidelines. These are the laws known as alcohol beverage, and they outline the rules on how alcohol can be sold and promoted at the state level. For example, some states don't allow price points or account logos on outdoor signage, and some don't allow outdoor signage at all. Others have happy hour restrictions. There are many, many different laws. These laws are interpreted differently across our clients, and therefore our clients will provide documentation to us on what their interpretation of the ABC guidelines are. That is then added to our internal resources so that our team members supporting that market have the most updated compliance information for processing orders. Sometimes these laws aren't very clear, and we'll reach out to our main point of contact in the market to get approval before proceeding, which is actually a very similar process we follow when we need clarification to ensure we're in line with our next topic, brand compliance. Brand reputation is critical to ensuring alignment between suppliers and distributors and capturing marketing reimbursement. We obtain brand guidelines directly from our supplier clients, as well as their key visual campaign artwork. There are standard rules that we follow when developing brand-specific creative, including logo and product image restrictions, making sure we use the brand's fonts, colors, and campaign art, and that the brands are listed with their full name, including any accents or capitalizations. For example, some brands require that their brand name be listed in all caps. We also make sure that the brand isn't paired with any inappropriate or explicit content. There are also specific guidelines we receive directly from suppliers regarding their partnerships, as well as energy drink, CBD, and seltzer guidelines. Now, some of the guidelines tend to change frequently. If we do get a request that isn't in line with the current guidelines we have, we will always confirm with the supplier for approval before proceeding with the order. Now, still on the topic of brand compliance, I'm going to go into a bit more detail about supplier partnership. I get a lot of questions about this one. The most common types of supplier partnerships are sports partnerships and celebrity partnerships. Our supplier clients typically develop their campaigns into templates on Instant Impact, and this ensures consistent brand compliance when those materials are ordered. If we receive a customer request featuring an approved supplier partnership, our team will use the approved template artwork and customize it according to the request, as well as the guidelines we receive as to what can be customized within the artwork. Any request partnership artwork has been altered need to receive supplier approval before proceeding. So some examples of updates that require supplier approval would be changing the flavors or the brand featured in the template artwork, placement and variability of the content, and we cannot add additional images or change the images that are already on. If we do receive a request to feature partnership artwork that we have not received from the supplier, we'll reach out directly to the supplier for the artwork to make sure we're compliant with their branding and partnership guidelines. Representing a brand appropriately is essential to maintaining those partnerships and our supplier clients care deeply about promoting their brands responsibly, which is why our next topic of DISCUS is not only important across the industry, but also in how we represent brands. DISCUS is the Distilled Spirits Council of the United States, and they are the leading advocate for distilled spirits in the US. Representing the leading producers and marketers of distilled spirits, the council advocates on legislation, regulatory and public affairs issues impacting the distilled spirits sector at the local, state, federal, and international levels. They have developed a code of responsible practices for beverage alcohol advertising and marketing. This code is a set of voluntary guidelines recommended for the spirits industry to follow to do their part in advertising responsibly. The code consists of the following guidelines to keep in mind when developing your POS, and we've outlined a few examples of common content we receive that would not be in line with the code. Things like ensuring that your advertisement does not appeal towards children. This is why we cannot use images of Santa or cartoon-like imagery. For any requests that include college campus marketing, we need to make sure that we include disclaimers such as must be 21 years or older. We have to be careful not to show activities that require a high degree of alertness, like operating a motor vehicle, or things that are in bad taste, violent, or political. And all advertisements must include a responsibility message. DISCUS is not just a component of industry compliance, but a component of brand compliance as well. When you look through this list, think about the brands you represent. Would they want to be associated with marketing that isn't in line with these responsible practices? We all need to collectively do our part to make sure we're advertising alcohol responsibly. All right, now we're going to move on to our next topic, which is trademark and copyright compliance. And I would say that trademarks are by far the most common compliance issue we come across, typically in drink names. And the most common copyright concern we encounter is when clients want to use images they've pulled from Google. Again, most people just aren't aware that these things are trademarked or that they don't have permission to use images from Google that have a copyright. So we help to educate our clients. Producing advertising materials that contain a trademark or a copyright result in legal action from the owner of the trademark or copyright. We have heard of accounts receiving cease and desist letters, so it does happen and it can be very costly. I always think it's helpful to see examples. So these are some of the commonly requested trademarks that we get. Again, this is a very, very small sample. But for example, Taco Tuesday, really common one. Some brand names or some brands have trademarked specific cocktail names. And as you can imagine, sports team names like the Super Bowl are also very common. When you're submitting your request and reviewing the content, if you do notice a trademark, changing it to something that isn't trademarked prior to order submission will help to avoid any delays to your order. The good news is that if you do miss something, we help catch it for you and protect you against any legal issues. Another component that we find a lot aren't very familiar with is federal compliance for alcohol advertising. When we come across this and we notify our clients, the reaction most of the time is, interesting, I had no idea. So aside from ABC state laws, there are also federal laws that specify that alcohol advertising cannot include flags, names, or imagery representing the government or the armed forces of the United States, not imply that the US government is associated with alcohol brands in any way. When we do get requests for holidays, like the 4th of July, for example, we use design elements, including stars and stripes and colors like red, white, and blue, as an alternative to showing the full American flag. We will always help you find a compliant solution and alternative so that the order can move forward smoothly. All right, hopefully I have your attention still. I know compliance is everyone's favorite topic. And if you've been following along, you'll know that we're on to our 6th and final compliance topic, which is permission consent. Frequently, we'll receive requests to include images of people. For example, if a band is playing at an account or a guest host is hosting a tasting event. And in order to include those provided images, we just need consent from the people in them. We also need permission to feature charity logos, delivery and rideshare logos, as well as copyright items, as we mentioned before. So this Tito's design is a perfect example. We had approval from Tito's that they had permission to use the logo of the charity. All right, that was a lot of compliance content to cover, and it was just a high level of some of the compliance information we could review. Chloe, can you show everyone where they can access additional resources?
Yeah, fantastic information, Emily. And thank you for reviewing that with us. We hope with the information learned during today's webinar, you feel like you can be your own defenders of compliance. When you partner with BrandMuscle, our compliance resources are easily at your fingertips. On our Instant Impact platform, you can find compliance materials under training and resources. We are also making changes to our online order form for custom orders, and soon you'll have compliance training materials pop up during your order submission to remind you about trademark alternatives. Finally, only compliant approved materials will be available within your ordering platform for markets with state compliance rules provided. We have covered a lot of rules today. I don't want to consider this homework for anyone, but in order for us to continue to be up to date on compliant regulations, we need your help. Help us help you by keeping us updated when you have changes to your compliance guidelines. This will help ensure that our internal resources are aligned. For suppliers, you can contact your BrandMuscle account manager or BrandMuscle DAM at brandmuscle.com with any updates to your brand standards or assets, as well as energy drink, CBD, seltzer, or partnership guidelines. For distributors, you can contact your local BrandMuscle representative with any updates to your state ABC compliance guidelines. And as a follow-up to this presentation, BrandMuscle will also reach out to our partner contacts to confirm that we have the most up-to-date information. Thank you so much for your time and partnership today. We hope that this overview helped to explain why compliance is so important and make clear what our role is as your partner and advocate. You can feel confident that BrandMuscle is here to defend your brand and your business. I think we have some time for our Q&A, but before we jump to that, I just wanted to highlight some of the feedback we've received from our partners around how we've supported their compliance management today. Emily, do you mind reading one of our first questions?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So the first question we have says, my market distributes Red Bull. Does that mean we can print it on our menus? So this is a really great question because we tend to see there's a lot of misconception around how energy drinks and certain brands like Red Bull can be advertised. So if you are listing Red Bull as a standalone item on the menu and your market distributes it, then yes. However, if you want to list Red Bull paired with an alcohol brand, then we need supplier approval, since most suppliers have specific guidelines on whether they allow their products to be paired with energy drinks. So it's not just a matter of if your market distributes it, it's a matter of the supplier guidelines on how they will be paired with energy drinks or whether they even allow it. All right, next, let's see, how can I provide permission consent when submitting my order? Awesome question, because if you're able to submit it at the ordering process phase, that really helps to speed up the process so that we don't have to reach back out once we notice that there might be an image that we need permission to use. So in the online order form, you can attach the written approval from the person in the image or the owner of the content in the attachment section when submitting your content. So it would be at the same place where you upload a Word doc with your content, or you can email it directly to your local BrandMuscle representative. Okay. Next, I am a supplier, but I don't have a partnership with BrandMuscle. How do I share my compliance guidelines with your team?
I can take
Chloe,
that
do you
one.
want to take that one?
Yeah, so in the resource section, I showed how supplier partners and distributor partners can share their compliance with their dedicated support team. For any partners that are not currently having a partnership with BrandMuscle, you can go to brandmuscle.com and go to book a demo, and there's actually a section there where you can request support on brand management and compliance and get connected with someone within our organization that will help ensure that those guidelines are shared with our creative services teams.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, next. Next question says, are the compliance topics discussed today applicable to marketing produced outside of BrandMuscle? This is a fantastic question. Yes, the compliance topics we covered today apply to all beverage alcohol marketing because these are not BrandMuscle rules. So the compliance management that we do really is an added level of service to our clients to advocate for them, to help ensure alignment between suppliers and distributors and protect the brand and capture marketing reimbursement. All right. We've got another question. It is, if I want to verify that the order I am submitting is compliant before I submit it, is there someone who can review it in advance? Yes. So if you are, like, particularly for our distributor clients, you can reach out to your local BrandMuscle representative and ask them to review the content to make sure everything is compliant prior to order submission, to make sure that it's not held up at a later point in time during the process. That will really help to speed up the process and avoid any delays. And it looks like those are all the questions we have. All right. Well, if anyone thinks of any questions after the webinar, feel free to reach out to us. And we appreciate everyone joining today and hope that you leave here with some additional information and clarity around compliance. And we thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.